Good evening and welcome to another Monday Night Live. Well, hopefully you have recovered from another landslide victory by Scotty Scheffler at the Memorial. Goodness me, the boy is on a run.
Pretty good. This must be what it felt like when Jack Nicklaus came on the scene and everyone loved Palmer and just can't stop him winning.
No.
Incredible.
Ricky Fowler, top 10. Good result for him.
Yep.
He's been taking a little bit of heat for getting invites into major championships and not doing too well. Still outside the top 100 in the world, 125, I think, there or thereabouts. But a big draw card for many tournaments.
Yeah, and that got him in the Open. US Open, sorry.
Yeah.
So possibly even the Open.
It was the Open.
Was the Open, yeah. So, great that he's qualified by right rather than through the back door. I think that's great for his confidence. And it's nice to see him playing well.
Yeah. European winner, US Open ladies golf. I know you're a keen follower of the ladies golf.
Yeah, my start, obviously, Solheim Cup player, done a couple of Solheim Cups. Monty's old caddy back on the bag with her. So it was great for Jeff to get back on the bag on ladies tour and get the major win. I'd love to see a European winner in a US Open. I think that feels like it's such a long time since that's been the case. And yeah, just nice to get that win.
Big time, big time. I want to mention my young protege, Christos, had a fantastic week at Fox Hills around the Long Cross course. The underrated event that is hosted and run by Henny and her team, underrated team. It's a series that runs events in the US and 2 events in Europe. The winner goes to the Curry Cup in New York over the Liberty National Golf Club, and the top European, who Christos was, from the boys and the girls, wins a trip, all expenses paid, in September to compete out there, and which I will be going whether he likes it or not. It was incredible. Oh my goodness me, it was a roller coaster ride. Yeah. He made triple on 10 and bounced back with birdies on 11, 12 and 17 to be one behind going up the last. Good. What an event. And there was hundreds of people around the 18th green, took his time and made a crucial 6-footer to take the victory. So there were emotions from Alex's dad and me, and no doubt his mum and brother and sister at home, Christos, or Rocco and Sophia and Bridget. So yeah, it was a really incredible event. The year before at Walton Heath, they had tough conditions, and he was the youngest in his age group and playing off the back tees, and it was too long. And this year he was, he was still 2 years younger than the 2 leaders that he was playing with. He was in the final group, and goodness me, he put up a great fight.
Yeah, and we've seen how much work he's put in. We've seen how much work you've put in with him, and just how much his game's obviously come on, but how much I kind of feel like he's come on the last 100%. Year or so. Saw some of the footage of it that was posted, and you could just see just the way he went about a few things, just the way his swing's looking. Yeah, you can see it's a real step up. I'm just really so pleased for him.
Yeah,
so
really excited. Well, as usual, we have our 2 iPads waiting for your questions. Anything that you would like us to try and compare, Simon is always ready. We'll probably play a few holes as well. We enjoyed that last week, and hopefully you did too. And if you want to ask us any questions on golf coaching or literally anything, James's new hairstyle, any cocktails that these guys like, we are already waiting for those questions.
One thing I must say, horse racing legends, please post something so that we can verify whether we're getting them or not, because I know you've mentioned that you have been asking someone, we've not seen them. So please post something, and we are on the lookout for it. So if you put a message in or a question in, we will see it.
100%. So let's kick ourselves off with S blank C. Good evening, Musketeers. You both look fine and dandy. The message went too early. Fine and dandy, I know what you meant. What's your thoughts on portable launch monitors like the Mevo Plus Pro and the Rapsodo MLM 2 Pro? I use the iPhone and video my swing, but think he's hit the button early again. Look, I think they're great. There's a new one coming out by Golf Swing Systems. It's the one that we've got upstairs, which is about £3,500, and it gives you some incredible data. It looks very similar to the GC Quad without having to put the stickers on the front of the face. I think they're all great. They're all good bit of advice or giving you good ingredients. I think the only thing that you want to do is compare them up against a TrackMan, let's say, and see how far out the data is. So you've got some sort of idea of what it links back to. Because if you're using TrackMan data, they won't be the same. None of the GC quads will give you exactly the same data as a TrackMan. So if you're using TrackMan as your benchmark, just if you can, rent a bay maybe, or if you're having a lesson with someone, plonk it down alongside and so see if you can calibrate the variables of the data. That would be my only recommendation. But other than that, they're really, really good. Peter Kendall, I'm going to book an iron and wedge fitting. What is the best time of year to book a fitting when you have the old and new clubs in stock?
So old and new, there's unlikely to be a crossover because by the time the new models launch, they may have residual stock, but actually generally we've already been told to pull our demos from the rack because they're out of the old model. And so they retain some for warranties, things like that, but actually us being able to get hold of, for example, like, Titleist are changing over soon, the current series, by the time the new model launches, there'll be a narrow, if any, window where both will be available. So normally when the new one comes in, the old ones are gone. As in best time of year to come in for it, probably going to be August, September, because the Titleist and Ping will have launched by then, and then everything will be out. We'll have had the most experience with the products that we've got and be able to fit you into the best products.
Just nipping over to my channel, Kev T. After watching your chip shop video and practicing for 2 days last week, I shot my best ever score today. Now that's good coaching. Great to hear, Kev T. Sneaky shots. Hi guys. What other shaft options are there that will be similar to the NS Pro 950 or the 850 GH Neo? Thanks.
Nippon do the Zelos 8, which isn't a million miles off the 850 Neo. The 950s, are they 950 Neos or 950s?
950 Neo. 950 Neo.
950 Neo KBS Tour Light in the reg at 95 grams. That's very similar. That would probably be the closest one.
NS Pro 950.
NS Pro 950. So,
and the 850 GH Neo.
The Tour Light is a higher balance than the original 950 version, but not dissimilar. Oben CT 100s. Again, slightly higher balance, but in the reg flex in a similar weight window.
Hopefully that helped.
Or steel fibre 95. A bit more stout, but that's not a million miles off in graphite.
Martin Williams, hi. Should your driver 3-wood and 5-wood all have the same swing weight? Thanks.
Not necessarily, no. Quite a lot of players, we fit into slightly lighter swing weights in fairway woods. Main reason being that off a tee, you've got more margin of error, you've got a bigger head with the driver, and more players commit a bit more with the driver off a tee. So generally the driver sits slightly heavier swing weight than the fairway woods because it's much harder to get a 3-wood or a 5-wood striking the ball off the ground. You've got zero height margin of error, it's either thin or fat. Off a tee, you've got that much driver head, and you've got that much height margin of error to get somewhere off the face and get a result. So we actually normally see a lot of players go slightly lighter in their fairway woods than they do drivers.
The Yorkshire Blade is in. Always been a traditionalist, but tried out a zero torque putter and was amazed. What's your take? And by the way, I missed you last week. Missed you too.
Take on them. They have a relevant place. They've clearly there's the design and the gearing principles around them where they suit someone trying to take all the variables, any influence from the putter out of the stroke. What we've seen is they tend to be good on quicker greens and on shorter putts. On longer putts, then you can lose the feel for the face a little bit and the pace control can be a little harder to achieve. So if your priority is just those sort of 6 foot and in, then that's where potentially they've got some value, but longer putts, not so hot.
Martin Williams asks, hi, can you recommend a wedge shaft that is a bit lighter and a bit more feel to it than a standard Dynamic Gold? Oh,
there are a lot. Dynamic Gold's 130 odd grams. So basically pick any other shaft other than a Project X and you'll get more feel. So depends how much lighter you want to go. But yeah, I mean, there are literally basically anything else.
There you go.
It doesn't really help much.
Enough to choose from.
Often maybe kind of 10 grams heavier than your iron shafts. That's not a bad start point as well.
Nick K, could you talk to the similarities, differences of the tailor-made BRNR Mini and the R7 Quad? Performance, look, feel, shock. Performance, look, feel, and stock shaft. Does the R7 sit flatter? And is it a more fade biased head?
Well, you haven't asked much there, have you?
Goodness me.
Does it sit flatter? That, off the top of my head, I wouldn't know. The head shape's quite different. The R7's a bit bigger visually. Looks a little bit bigger. But some of the lines around the face can make them sit a little differently. I don't, off the top of my head, know the exact lie. Much more versatile with the R7. You've got the weights where you can shift 18 grams forward or back, so you can make it much more stable or lower and a bit lower spin than the burner, depending on where you put the weights. So the R7 is a better all-around club. It's more forgiving as well. I think it's a better all-round product. I've probably missed out several parts of the question there, but yeah, I think they have definitely improved it. The burner was pretty good, but the R7 definitely, you've got more you can do with it. Stock shaft's very similar. Yeah.
Paul Clanner asks, Stuart, what is the most useful training aid you recommend to your students? The grip aid, Swiss ball, some wedges, and a broom. There's 4 for you. Yeah, there's a 4 broom. Check out my broom series. Good golf coaching, broom series. Hopefully.
Surprised you haven't grown a moustache to make it look like a broom.
Sculptura X2, evening gents, evening X2, studio or open air for tuition, and speed TRG for juniors, yes or no. For tuition, data would be my advice. If you can get it indoors or outdoors, that would be top of the pile for me. And TRG for juniors, yes or no?
Speed training. Ultimately,
not for me.
Specifically, no. I think what we're seeing through sport generally is that strength, power, physical training are all part of a junior youngster's development through more from a physical development point of view, and that then leads on to being more flexible, stronger, able to put more speed in. I think that you don't want to curtail speed, but equally speaking, I wouldn't want to necessarily say yes because you don't want to harm their growth development, but you can put strain on bits of the body you don't want to by doing speed training. So it's a delicate one.
So Christos, young lad that I talked about at the start, he's not the most muscular of lads. He's a very slight boy, very slight boy. We have never done speed training. He's 15 years old and he's now 105 miles an hour. He played up against 2 17-year-olds at the weekend, and he was, I would say, on average, 10 yards behind him. Nothing. In 2 years' time, when he's their age, he will be blowing it past them like Billy O. And he's never done any speed training. All he's got is a really, really good golf swing. The more efficient you are, the better you move. As the growth comes and the strength comes, my belief is that the speed will come because you're moving that weight around you more efficiently. So I think speed training at junior level, I think, is quite dangerous. But again, everyone's got a different slant on it. That's mine. Simon's slightly different, slightly different. Hopefully that's given you some insights. Pro V1 David. Good evening, Pro V1 David. I love your handle, David. Evening. In your opinion, golf ball compression, is there a correct ball for each swing speed, slow, medium and fast?
No. No, it's main reason being so that it's a misnomer that a Pro V1 does not come off the face as fast as a Titleist True Feel. In terms of ball speed, the less you compress the core, the less you're losing energy through deformation. It's got to recover, and you actually heat and sound, all those sort of things. So actually, you don't want compression on a ball to get ball speed. There's a reason why the Pro V1X left dash is the fastest ball, because it's the hardest core. But if you play a core too firm, it doesn't actually get the core reaction optimized for lowest spin. So it's not a speed thing, it's a spin thing. So if you overload a core, you're going to lose a load of performance. So if I played a distance ball and actually the spin would get inconsistent, I'd lose ball speed. The Pro V1 is designed to optimize at a higher speed, therefore the spin's in the right window. So, but it's not if you're at 50, 70 miles an hour, use a 6-on soft feel, and if you're at 120, use a Pro V1X left dash. It isn't as definite as that.
Very good. Good explanation. David Brett. Simon, wow, what a difference a 1.5 grams makes.
So David, and hello to Lilia. Hope she's feeling well after last week. Yeah, David came in. We changed driver head from a Rogue ST Robe LS, Max LS to the Elite, and just wasn't quite working like it did in the fit. So David popped back up, and we literally moved. We needed more weight at the back of the head, so David was flipping it over left, and swing weight we went up by about a point, 3/4 of a point, so 1.5 grams worth in dead weight. But we moved some weight from the front to the back, and that changes rotation rate and meant that it's synced up just so much better. And so weight distribution made a huge difference. So it was, I'm
Good to
glad
hear.
it's working out.
Good to hear. Back in the game, David. Shako. I have a 10-year-old son playing competitive golf. Great to hear. He is rather small, 135 centimetres. Do you guys offer fittings for this size of junior? And do you have shafts this short? Thanks. Love the show.
Yeah, we do. The thing that's most important at that age is not getting the head weights too heavy. And this is where things like if there's a slight or a small 10-year-old, then this is where products like the US Kids are great, because the head weights are 10, 15% lighter, which is a lot. I mean, that ends up being 30 grams. So it's a heck of a lot. So when we get a junior who's progressing towards a kind of a main brand option, that's where we'll often use something like a Ping, where we can regulate the head weight as they develop and not have to rebuy heads over and over and over again. But the US Kids stuff is brilliant for that.
Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. Excuse me.
But we do have shorter, lighter shafts as well for just those fittings too.
Dan Schiavello, good morning from Australia once again, gents. Good morning. Good morning. Macca09, hi guys, hope you're well. We are, Macca, thank you for asking. Why would one club in an iron set be so difficult to hit? Well, consistent compared to the others.
So if you get to, so even with a set that's perfectly matched up and built and swing weight progression and everything, you do get tolerances within every product. So normally, and we have seen instances where with a set of shafts, you get one that's got a slightly different balance point. And everything else matches, dead weight progression matches, the grip weights are the same, the swing weights are beautifully lined up, but a club can then, and I've noticed it with one of my own clubs in the past and a couple of other clients over the years, where they just don't move the same. And the only explanation can be that within the structure of the shaft, the mass position is very slightly different. It takes so little to throw that off. But in that instance, we've had to then get another shaft in and rebuild, and that solved it. But yeah, there are tolerances in everything. And that is normally where we find it from a set that's been really kind of built down to the nth degree.
Martin Williams, on the back of his question earlier, which I will remind you. Hi, can you recommend a wedge shaft that is a bit lighter?
Yep.
He goes on to ask, so would the 3-wood and 5-wood be the same swing weight?
Assuming standard length progressions, which is normally kind of ½ inch or so, yes, we would generally build them to the same swing weight.
Richard Skinner, hi guys, hi Richard, great show, thank you. Can you compare the TMP 7CB, I'm in a silly mood this evening, versus the Ping Blueprint S? What is your favourite?
Ooh, what's my favourite? Between those two, I'm not quite sure. I don't know what my favourite is between those two,
Okay.
but I will get them.
You go get them. I'm going to answer a question from Doug, and I'm going to throw it at you while you're doing the searching. Hi, Doug. Good evening. Question for Simon. Struggling to get used to the new driver after the fitting. Could be me, but how long should I give it before worrying whether I need to tweak the setting or shaft?
I think if after kind of 3 to 5 rounds, if something doesn't start to kind of come together, then yeah, just obviously if it's us here, then just let us know, and we'll double check it over and make sure that there's nothing. Yeah, it's not an exact science, and we only see someone once, so it may well be that there's a small element, balance, swing weights, a loft or a lie that could just need a fine tune. But yeah, if after 5 rounds or so, if it's not dialing in, then yeah, let the fitter know.
There you go. You heard it from the background. Very good, Simon. Very good. Moving on to Macca09. Another question, Macca. Goodness me, very demanding tonight. Joking. Are the yet to be released Titleist irons much different to what's available now? The T150.
So all I can say is that I have seen them, I have hit them, but I can't talk about them yet. So it's fair to say that Titleist as a brand, much like Ping, aren't companies who randomly change things. So I think what you should expect to see is a fairly natural progression, developing the tech out and the performance aspects of the current generation in the next one. But I can't tell you anything else.
Do they look sexual?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, they've neatened up the looks, particularly in the utility irons and the 200, which is going to be the 250 and the 350. Yeah, no, they are good. They're good looking creatures.
Take my money. JD, I have an Axiom 75R hard, stepped in my irons and love them. Can you recommend a graphite solution for my wedges up to and including the lob wedge? By the way, I take full swings with all net wedges.
So the iron shafts were the... Sorry, I was multitasking.
No, the irons have got the Axiom 75R hard.
Okay, so it's a big jump in weight from the Axioms to the 105. And so whilst you might kind of think, oh, well, would that be the natural progression? It's a heck of a jump in weight. So actually, a shaft that could work really well would be the steel fibre, the Private Reserve wedge-specific shafts. They do a 90 gram.
Private Reserve?
I shall get one for you.
Private
Reserve.
Who comes up with this? I mean, honestly, I know what we're going to call it. Private Reserve. Well, that's a great idea. Stop it.
Blacked out rather than the kind of silvery ones. But it's a wedge-specific shaft. The dead weight is at 90 grams, so progresses nicely off the 75 of the Axioms, and the balance point's in a similar place.
Well, I mean,
and they look cool as well.
They do look cool, just apart from the name.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've got.
Sounds like somewhere you'd go on safari.
It does. It does. Oh, is that one of those new Private Reserves?
You could probably get a leopard print grip on it.
Yeah, I'm sure you can.
Someone will do it. So we're going to start with the Blueprint S. And actually with both heads, the Ping have got the tungsten port in the toe, and the CBs have a little bit of tungsten on the toe side as well. So actually really quite similar from that respect. Yeah, very classic shaped head, a little bit of mass down the bottom, a little bit of forgiveness. And there's no real tech in them. Mid-spin, so 16 launch, 5-1 on spin, really neutral. Very popular on tour because there's a bit of help without it creating some jump off the face. I'm going to quit while I'm ahead on that one.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, it's a nice forging. You know, Ping aren't renowned for their forgings. It's not their kind of bread and butter. They've done forged irons in the past, and they've had a lovely feel. I think it was the Answer forged irons that were really nice. But yeah, very popular on tour. The P7CB, a little less mass down the bottom. They're going back to like the old TP sort of muscle bar in the centre, a bit like the old T-Zoid as well. Slightly narrower sole, a little bit less bounce naturally on the iron heads as well. Very, very similar head shape. They haven't got the white line in the bottom of the face like the Pings do. But very, very clean iron shape. Very, very slightly softer sound.
It does sound, that did sound softer.
Turn that over a little bit, spin a couple of hundred revs less. I probably would expect it to be just 100, 150 revs less than the Ping. Slightly more solid feeling for me. But marginally lower launch, but again, slightly turned over. I mean, they're really, really similar iron heads. If you want something that feels a bit more solid, the TaylorMades. If you want a bit more forgiveness, the Pings, but it's real margin.
Very good, very good. There you go. Hopefully that answered your questions on those two. All of a sudden, people have got on their keyboards and started firing in some questions, which is nice to have. Christopher Monroe, I believe, is the next one. Yeah, evening,
Your eyes seem
gents.
to be working well this evening.
Well, do you know what? They're not actually. They're having to work really, really hard. And I think that's what's making me a little bit cuckoo in the head. So evening, gents. Christopher, evening there. Good evening. What would be your go-to drill for correcting a out to in swing path? I really struggle with out to in with my driver. I would check your grip. Check your grip. It's easy. Just check your grip. Grip series on my video on my YouTube channel. Just go over and head over to Good Golf Coaching Grip Series. Sort your out to in path out. Just to explain why, if the ball's bending right, you're going to swing left. If the face is open to the path, don't fix the path because the face will stay the same to the path. So change the face to the path, which is a grip, is super simple to do, and then your path will magically, almost like that, switch more inside out. It's that simple. Shako, thanks for the answer on the junior fitting. He is currently playing a Ping Proddy G set and with a TSR driver, TSR 1 driver, with a slightly lighter weight.
I mean, that all sounds in a really great place. Certainly as a baseline. So the Prodigies are the Ping's junior set for those that don't know, and you can have them extended once within part of the package price of them, which is good from Ping. TSR 1 lighter driver head, so that all sounds good.
Matt M, hi. I've been turning my driver over with draws and hooks. When it doesn't go well, would a stiffer, heavier shaft help?
So it could make it worse. I mean, there's a bit of definitely maybe. If the club's too light and you're losing, the flex won't change the shot shape. It might make you feel more comfortable, something that's feels a bit stiffer, but it won't actually change fundamentally the delivery of the club head. That's down to you and how you and the club interact. So if it's too light, you can overpower it and could potentially flip it left. So heavier may drop the club into plane better and allow you to leave the face on line more. However, if heavy's the wrong way to go, it's going to get more behind you. You could flip it over, rope hook it even more. So it isn't necessarily a fix. And one thing would be, make sure that you're not doing anything funky swing-wise or setup-wise. Coaching is, massively important, and sometimes the club is just showing you what you're doing. So the answer is possibly, and possibly not. But unfortunately, there's no definite answer I can give you, I'm afraid.
I've just been told that I've missed Joseph Nichols. I can't find Joseph Nichols.
Joseph, where are you?
Where are you, Joseph? Above Matt M. Hang on. Sorry. Take a small. Matt M. No, it's not on my feed. Yeah, I will come and read it off of there. I'll come and read it off of there. Joseph Nichols, evening. I got fit 6 to 7 years ago in a Game TM M6 irons and F9 driver. Okay, yeah. I'm down to a 14 handicap. I've lessons I've lessons. My swing and shot shape have changed. Would you recommend upgrading or a loft and light adjustment? Sorry, that was quite a difficult question to read. There was need more punctuation, people, sometimes.
So ultimately, after that amount of time and when you've worked on your swing, it's worth just a check-up just to see what the next move forward is. It could be that it is literally a case of, say, loft lie check, maybe a slight swing weight change, maybe a slight setting change on the driver from a loft point of view, face angle point of view, and that might be it. Or there might be a really tangible gain to have. After that amount of time, and if you've done work on your swing, then it's certainly worth sort of booking for a follow-up session with whoever you've seen. If it was here, then we do the recap sessions for that, and that way you can kind of get a benchmark for where you are now, and if there's anything that's going to make a tangible difference or not. But good question.
Horse racing, that message was not on my feed, which is interesting. We'll have to search why that is. Horse Racing Legends' question is on my feed, though. Many thanks to Tom B for reshafting my 4-iron with a lovely O-band CT115 shaft. Great service, quick turnaround. Great to hear that feedback. Thank you very much, HRL. Papa B, good evening. Hello, young men. Would you please hit the Srixon ZX i7 and give me your opinion on forgiveness? For some reason, I just can't hit the wider sole iron, so I'm always searching for forgiveness in thinner soles. Whilst Simon toodles off to go and get one of those, I'm going to answer John Carr's question. Hi Stu, can you discuss the benefits of front foot flare? Will this reduce stress on the front knee? Well, the front knee is, if you've got problems with your front knee, we are fundamentally trying to push off and push up. The less twist you have in your foot when you're pushing, the better. So depending on where your hip is in relation to your foot will depend where you want to have your turnout. That's when it comes to the pressure on the knee. So wherever you're pushing from, you want to try and line the foot up with that. If you're thinking about rotation, if you turn your left foot out, it will restrict your backswing and help your through swing. If you turn your left foot in, it will help your backswing and reduce your through swing. So my advice would not be too much either out or in. Go somewhere in between, wherever that is for you. 5 to 2, that would be a good one.
And for a bit of fun, watch it back, turn the sound off, and you could have a funny thing. It could be line dancing.
Oh, dear me. The things we do for a few subscribers.
Yeah, absolutely. So ZXi7, yeah, I mean, it's a fairly classic kind of, you might call it kind of muscle cavity. Got a bit of mass down the bottom, bit of mass into the middle. Not overly wide in the sole there as well. So Srixon used that kind of V-sole for turf interaction, which in principle gives a little bit of forgiveness depending on the lie, in principle. But yeah, I mean, in terms of from a forgiveness point of view, in theory not overly forgiving, but there is some perimeter weighting. It depends what you require from a forgiveness point of view. Actually getting the right setup means that you strike the centre most regularly and therefore builds in a bit of extra margin of error anyway, because you're able to stay balanced and deliver the head as stably as possible. But you know, from a head point of view, I'll just hit one standard one here. See, slightly low on the face, but you know, there is, with that little bit of mass down the bottom, like that's still, you know, efficiency-wise 143, smash factor, that's really quite strong. I think it depends where your miss is. If I send this out towards the toe, which is actually relatively rare on irons.
Oh, that sounded
Or if I hit that far out the toe, I nearly twisted in my hands. If you hit it on the bit without the grooves, like I've just done there, you're going to kill ball speed anyway. That's quite a weak bit of the head. But the more you go into the more forgiving models, they're putting tungsten things out in the toe, more of the weight there to mitigate.
What about if you hit it out the shank?
If you hit it out the heel, and actually the less forgiving you go, and by kind of less, I mean more blade style, actually the centre of mass moves slightly more into the heel
Come on, let's
side.
see one out the shank.
So you want to actually pipe one?
Yeah,
or?
let's see if you can pipe one.
Oh, I can pipe, yeah. Oh, that's all right, I can do that.
Oh, hey!
That's not difficult to do. You'll note that I stand where the rest of you do at address for that one.
That clears up those questions.
Yeah. So I mean, if you shank it, there's not a head out there that's going to help you. But if you
Unless you play the old Cleveland Vass irons. Mark had a set of
yeah.
those back in the day.
Mark had a set of everything back in the day. He's still got a set of everything. He's gymming around at the workshop on Saturday, putting graphite shells. But if you catch it a little bit out the heel, then actually this sort of head is great, because actually the sweet spot, that's 139 efficiency, but that was into the heel side. So the more forgiving kind of design you go, it's helping you out if your miss is more towards the toe. The less forgiving head, actually if your miss is heel side, then actually that's where more of the mass is. So you're actually not so bad off on a head like this if your miss is into the heel.
Are you a hay fever sufferer?
Not yet.
I'm a really...
Not badly, and I know it's bad at the moment.
It's bad at the moment. Yeah. I'm getting some bad.
Paul James, when we were in France, made me very grateful not to suffer hay fever. He got waves of whatever pollen it was, He's definitely allergic to it.
I'm really. You had a set of Vass irons, Mark, didn't you? Okay, his uncle did. He must have had a bout of the shanks as well then. Blaine O'Hare from my channel. Good evening, gents. Good evening, Blair. Blaine even. Bought a new 5-wood. Head feels a bit light and I miss to the right sometimes. Would a few grams of lead tape help? Love the channel. Thank you so much.
If you're missing right, then if you add lead tape, there's a strong chance it's going to get more behind and could make it worse. Equally speaking, it's one of those, it might. I mean, the best bet is go and find someone who knows what they're doing and ask them. Yeah. And then they can actually look at what you're doing and how the club and you are interacting and get some considered advice on it, because it might work for a round just because it's different, and then go all over the shop because it's actually the wrong thing to do, and then you're in trouble because then, well, what is the right thing to do? So find someone who you can get a really considered opinion from, and get them to take a look and get some data with it, change it, and look at what is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What's the exact setup now? Is it already a heavy swing rate or is it not? And take it from there.
Or just carry a roll of lead tape around and just keep on putting it in random places around the club face.
Yeah, I mean, things are smaller hand. Yeah, well, the thing is, people go, "Oh, I'll put a bit on the heel side because it'll drawbars it." It's a fairway wood. It's a 220 gram head, and 2 grams isn't going to change that at all. Sure. It just makes it heavier by 2 grams. Yeah. So yeah.
Sam J.
We've all done it though.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam J. Greetings from Canada. Great to have you with a question. Have a 34-inch face balance putter, but planning on installing a longer wrist lock grip. If I add a 2-inch shaft extension, will that adversely affect lie angle, as in more toe down?
Won't make it more toe down. If you make it long, well, so if you're extending it by 2 inches, but then you're effectively holding it in the same place, but the extra 2 inches is the bit that goes against your wrist, then in theory it really shouldn't change anything unless it changes the pitch of how you stand. So, but if you were extending it 2 inches and holding the top of it, it's actually going to bring the toe up a little bit more. But ultimately, the best thing to do is to put the extension in, put the grip on, and then take a look at where it's sat relative to how you're now set up and adjust it to that rather than doing anything before you make the change.
Yeah, absolutely. Good advice, Simon. Mike T, what's a good option for an iron head to replace a hybrid? Nice and forgiving with good launch.
Depending on what loft we're talking about, I mean, this is where Titleist, the U505 has always been very good. A lot of people have found the current model a little bit big, and you might like what's coming.
Sexual.
I mean, I don't really know, but it's a neater head shape in the 505.
Okay. Jamie Richards, I think I've always been fitted by Simon as plus half-inch for Titleist irons, but the last 4 years I've played standard length. I feel stroke is better, but tech shows me it's out the heel.
Okay, so there are kind of a couple of elements to it. It depends what. So standard length, back when you started coming to see us, was actually 1/4 inch shorter. So that has standard has changed a little bit over time. But yeah, it's a mixture of. I mean, heel strike could just be. Could be standing a little close. It could be some swing-related things, or it could be if going standard length has changed the balance and the swing weight, it's changed your delivery patterns a little bit. Yeah, it'll be. I think I replied to you about dates, but if not, email me again. I think I did, because I know Jamie wants to come in. But yeah, it's a case of we'll have a deep dive into it when you come in and check out a few things. Ultimately, the correct length is the one that allows you to stay in the most neutral posture and in control of the club. So it may be that a standard or a slightly longer length, and there's a marginal difference. And if that's the case, then wherever your posture is most comfortable.
Macar09 would advise delaying a fitting for the Titleist irons with an emoji.
If you're a Titleist guy, then yeah.
Joseph Nichols, evening Joseph. I got fit 6 or 7 years ago. This is the one that I've already done. Got it. Jamie Richards, question is, how do I know if they are too short? Get a fitting, I guess.
Well, yeah, and also if in the short irons, if you feel like you're having to reach for it, so kind of 6, 7 iron, it'll probably feel okay. 8 into 9 on the pitch in particular, if it's getting a bit short, then you're just going to feel like, rather than being able to kind of stay comfortable in your posture, that you're just going to have to reach for it or sit into it. And that's really, you haven't got to have standard half-inch progression the whole way down. You can actually keep the longer irons a standard length and soften that progression so the short irons get a bit longer if you don't want to go too long in the long irons. So there are things in the build that you can do. But yeah, if you feel like you're having just to stretch for it a little bit or sit into your posture, then they're probably a bit short.
Pro V1, David, the launch monitor you were talking about earlier from Golf Swing Systems, is there a release date yet? I don't think there is for the UK. I think it's been released in the US. We've got the only one in Europe upstairs in our room. If you're down here and you want to have a look, I can happily show you, or one of the guys will. But it's smaller than the GC Quad, and the data is much the same. So it's sorry, it's called True Launch. Is that by Golf Swing Systems? No, Platform Golf True Launch. That's the name of it. It's a great bit of kit. Thoroughly recommend it. Macca 09. This one is for Stuart. I've been playing for 18 months now and still struggling in all areas of the game. Is that all? Just all areas? Predominantly putting. I just wondered what you would advise to help improve scores. Oof, that's a biggie. 2 areas. Being able to get it off the tee, because once you can get it off the tee, you break the back of the hole, and improve your chipping, because you're always going to miss greens. And if you can chip it, that's a very, very long way to improving your scores, because putting it's not easy and it's not tricky, but you shouldn't be taking more than 3 putts really on each hole. So if you can hit it off the tee, chip okay, you're going to go a long way to scoring well. Don't worry about hitting 3 woods and 5 irons and all that kind of stuff. If you just squaff it along the floor, that's going to work out for you. But if you can't get it off the tee, that's a real problem. So working on tee balls and chipping would be a good way to go. That's where I'd dial in for lowering scores to start with. Joseph Nichols, sorry for the poor grammar. I deleted and retyped it. Sorry, Joseph. Sorry. It's just me being silly. It's no offence.
Big old school master.
Please don't take offence by it. I mean nothing by it. Anthony Ped, hi guys. I have a set of mint condition Mura 202 CBs. You lucky thing. Straight neck iron heads in the garage. Would you still say they still okay to put in the bag? Thinking of putting my C-tapers in them. Thoughts?
Yeah, ultimately the design hasn't become obsolete. The 202s are a classic kind of muscle cavity, very similar to something like a Titleist CB. You know, it hasn't suddenly, you know, the MB 101 still a relevant design. So yeah, absolutely. The only question with the C-tapers is just whether the balance with the weight of the mirror heads, whether they're playable. That would be the only thing to caveat with it. But you know, depending on what the head weights are, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Gary,
lovely set of heads.
Gary Satterfield is in. Gary, good evening. Hi guys, don't worry, this is a serious question. When you're hitting...
That's more worrying.
Yeah, I know. When they're hitting balls at the range and the balls have been freshly washed and are a little wet, what effect will this have on your shots?
Well, if you haven't got your grooves filled up by mud, and if you have some grooves on your face, very, very little. I mean, it'd have to be sopping wet to have any kind of difference. And even then, it's probably going to be more driver than irons. So, yeah, I mean, it's no different than playing in dew on the fairway. You're going to get more moisture on the ball from that. So, yeah, nothing to worry about.
Very good. Pro V1 David, James has just posted a link for the True Golf, Platform Golf. Launchbox by True Golf. There you go. There you go. What a team we are.
It's been rebranded.
Yes, about 6 times since we've been on air. For everyone, Mac, Joseph Nichols, Anthony Ped, JD, following up to my shaft question, and I will refresh your memory of JD's shaft question, Simon, which was about the Axiom 75R hard. JD goes on to ask, your recommendation of the PR Do you recommend same weight, approximately 75 grams in brackets, 95 grams in the SPR? By the way, hello from Canada and love the channel. Keep up the great work. Thanks.
You may have seen, if you are unlucky, one of our staff who's currently on sabbatical, been through Canada. He's been whale watching and things like that, so he's having a great time. Just been through Vancouver. Sasquatch, yeah.
Bigfoot stinks.
He's not as Bigfoot as he was. He's lost a bit of weight. I'll put it back on in the States, sure. So you can, it's interesting, probably about 30% of players, 30% stay in the same weight. If you tend to be quiet arm and very much kind of body rotation, dead arm, then the same weight can work. If you're in a 75 gram graphite, then often we would see a little bit heavier. So in the steel fiber wedge shaft, the 90 gram would then be the one that should, you're generally looking at kind of around 10 gram progression. And they do an 80 and a 90, but the 90 is more likely, particularly for shorter shots, more likely to work well.
Yorkshire Blade asks, hi Stuart, have you been advised by doctors I require a new front knee? While waiting, is there anything I can do to make my swing easier on my knee? Well, I think use your hands and arms more and reduce the amount of leg action you put into the ground. So a bit more flex in your knees and just use your hands and arms. That'll be a good way of taking your leg action out of play. It'll reduce your distance, but if it protects your knees for a little bit longer, that might be a good thing for you.
I guess longevity of playing.
Yes. Yeah. Joseph Nichols, thanks for the reply. My goal is to get as close to single figures over the next year. I find the iron distance varies. Now I consistently compress the ball and can come very hot off the face. That's good to hear. Richard Skinner, hi Stuart and Simon. Hi Richard. Can you compare the Callaway Elite TD driver versus the Titleist GT3 with, he goes on to say, but hasn't told us.
Oh.
So
it's a cliffhanger.
It's a cliffhanger. It is a cliffhanger. Joseph Nichols, I don't really feel the weight of the head of the driver and control the face more with the feel of my arms through the swing. If it's working, Joseph, keep going with it. Papa B, you are the best. Well, sometimes. My miss is always heel side. I think due to decades of playing blades, the heel always seems friendly on those. Certainly seems that way when Simon was testing them. Hi lads, good evening, quadruple A. Awesome seeing you both again. Well, it's awesome hearing from you too. Just wanted to ask, since you mentioned flaring the front foot, does flaring your foot out a certain amount have an effect on the club path? Make it more inside out and outside in? No, not at all. Not at all. No, what has more effect on your path is your club face relationship to the path.
Do we know what shaft yet?
No shaft update.
No shaft, okay.
No
right.
shaft update, so it is open season.
So it'll be, I'll use my own one.
Jamie Richards, can't believe your reply went into the junk. Simon, your reply went into the junk.
Well, I mean, it's probably quite apt, really.
Yeah.
It's one of those I thought I'd replied, but I wasn't certain.
Softest, Andrew Evans asks, softest feeling high spin golf ball. Many thanks.
I haven't seen. Sorry, softest
feeling high spin golf ball.
I would say of the ones that I could comment on, I would say the Bridgestone, the Torby XS. In terms of soft feel, a lot of the higher spin balls are harder feeling. So, yeah, I would say that one.
Very good. Maca09 I have lessons with Lewis as and when I can due to distance from the centre, and I can hit it reasonably well, but out on the course it's a different beast. Talking of three putts, what about 4S? What's about 4S? Don't know what that means.
Or maybe 4 putts.
Yeah, perhaps. If 4 putts, that's kamikaze.
Scary.
Pro V1, David, thank you. You're welcome, Pro V1, David.
Right.
You ready to go?
Elite
ready,
Triple Diamond.
Off we go.
For this, I'm going to keep the heavier weight at the front because that's basically where it is on the GT as well.
Love that.
So,
Love that.
Generally speaking, we'd use Both good heads, both been good for ball speed. We generally use the Callaway head to keep a little bit more launch angle relative to, but keep spin down. So kind of higher launch, lower spin, and GT3 not quite as high a launch, but both very good heads. No markings on the crown of the Callaway, and tends to sit just neutral to just that little bit open. Let's see.
Whoosh.
My finest strike, but yeah, a little bit necky. But for not a brilliant strike, retained pretty good ball speed. Spin up a little. Let me see if I can get one more there. But yeah, reasonable launch angle. 14 for a 9-degree head. I play an 8 lofted up just a fraction normally, so I don't need a lot of loft. More solid hit. Hold slightly. Yeah, so got the face squared through there. So you can see a 12.2 launch, 2000 spin. Fairly strong flight, but it doesn't knock the flight down. So definitely retains that little bit of launch angle. Solid all-round head, that.
We've got a question in. From Blaine O'Hara. A question for Stuart. Addressing the ball, is it better to grip with left hand or right hand first? When watching the pros on the TV, a lot of them grip with their right hand and then the left. A lot of them will grip with their right hand first, so that they can set their left hand. So they'll either hold it out in front of them like this and set the left hand, but most of them do it that way. Just depends, whatever really takes your fancy on being able to get your grip right, really, but there's no preference. Some people, again, set up, take it in their left hand, place it forwards, put it in their right hand, place it forwards, and put their left hand on. So there is no reason why they would do that. It just depends on what they're working on, really.
That's good. I wonder how I do it.
You put your left hand on first.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It's a bit like amazing when you just don't think about stuff.
No.
But yeah. So GT, slightly flatter sole. The Callaway cambers up a little bit, which is really to do with aerodynamics, but that's part of why it sits a bit more open. Titleist seats down behind the ball, maybe marginally better, but nice square-looking head. Got the GT mark on the crown for alignment. I've got that high on the face. You can see great balance on that swing there, wasn't it? But so for that one, a little higher on the face to keep the spin down. If I can find a half decent swing to get a proper comparison. Not quite as harsh a sound off the face, which is why the Titleist heads have been very popular. I'm just swinging it badly today. So yeah, that was an awful one. Let me give it one more. That's not going to tell us anything about anything. Other than that was a poor swing. I could tell that from the moment I got to the top. That was more like it. So, that one, I guess, it's a slightly more moderate spin to launch angle. It's not a high spin head, but the Callaway definitely gets the spin, especially with the weight forward, gets the spin. It's not knuckling, but kind of down a little bit more. The Titleist a little bit more neutral, but more of a kind of a mid to stronger mid launch, mid spin. The Callaway can launch a bit higher, take spin off. But you've got the option to move weight back and front with the Callaway, which does make it very versatile. But if you're a toe miss, go the Titleist. If you're a heel miss, the Callaway is often very good.
Very good. Macca says, sorry, 4 putts. Yeah, sorry to hear about your 4 putts. Anthony Ped, I first got fitted years ago by Simon at the old PG studio with the St Andrews background. We'll be booking a visit again soon. Great channel. Thanks so much, Anthony. Macca09, after a fitting with yourselves, are you able to provide the clubs on the day or not?
No, everything we build is built to order. So because we don't hold tons of stock, for the simple reason being that there's literally no point. We can't predict what the next person coming in is going to go for, what's going to suit them. So we order everything based on what someone goes ahead with on the day. We then order the components in, and then once they're here, we build them on site. And even if we had the components on site, you wouldn't be able to walk away with them on the day because the turnaround time from a build is much longer than that. And we are monstrously busy at the moment. So generally, it's within 4 weeks from the point of order, unless a stock issue gets in the way. We've been at kind of max capacity the last couple of months, so we're on the 4-week lead time at the moment. But before that, we were down at kind of within 3. So.
The left rough, any idea what type of iron profile the Ping Z115 wedge is?
Generally designed around a slightly softer tip, and your balance points are fairly kind of lower mid. Again, with the wedge shafts, they tend to keep a bit more kind of feel for the bottom end, but it's a very much a kind of a, in theory, a slightly lower launch, slightly higher spin shaft. Any of the wedge shafts generally designed around that, but very kind of vanilla shaft. Good all-rounder because it's not too heavy.
Macro9, what is Stuart's playing handicap? I'm a pro. Played Challenge Tour, PJ Tour of Australia. I've played to a decent level, won a few times. But now, just a pro, just like any other golfer.
He doesn't have to worry about what index he's going to play which course on.
Thank goodness for that. And that has wrapped up all of the questions with 5 minutes to spare.
Well, let's stick it on. Let's get through a couple of holes in Muirfield Village and see how many we can get through.
Beautiful. And we'll keep answering the questions as we go.
Seeing as they've just played it.
Seeing as they've just played Muirfield Village.
If I can find it. Oh, here we go.
Let's fire up the band. Let's fire up the band.
Which tees out there? Oh, we'll go off the Memorial tees.
Oh, go off the Memorial tees. Why not go off the Memorial tees?
Pin's difficult. And we'll go.
Oh, well, why not?
We'll
Why wouldn't you have
We'll go
difficult?
back 9. Then
Back
we might
9.
get the.
Why wouldn't we go off difficult tees? Why wouldn't we? Oh, God, I feel stiff, man. All in the wrong places.
Stiff all in bits that you don't want to be.
Yeah.
I must have. I had a couple of looseners, as I always try to, before we started, and it felt like someone else was swinging it. Felt absolutely horrible. So, having gone from a period where I felt like I was playing quite nicely to my God.
Yeah.
Some days you just,
Oh,
it's absolutely disgusting. Oh, it's me off first. Okay.
that's your first.
So starting on 10.
That's handy. That's handy.
Right, so what have we got
Any
here?
more
We've
questions?
got
Jasper L, what
the
are
480
each of
yard
your
par
top
four.
3 courses in Surrey to go and play? For me, Hankley Common, Hindhead, St George's Hill.
So for me, I would say, I'm a member at St George's Hill, but even if I wasn't, that would be one of them. Hankley. Hankley's got to be in there.
Yep.
And
Hit while you're talking.
what else?
We've only got 5 minutes.
Sorry.
Have a think. Oof. Rip that one. You ripped that one.
Oh, it's going right.
Oh, you've hit
Hit it well,
everything.
though.
You've hit everything
I hit it better
left,
than I
and then
thought
you get
I
on
would.
the golf course and you hit it right.
And the third one would be the bit of Sunningdale that's in Surrey.
Right.
No, Woking's a good test. I mean, we're blessed with so many that actually it's quite hard to pick. That's a proper cop-out, isn't it?
Yeah. Boom. Another
Very
fairway.
good. Another fairway found.
Another fairway found. Last missed a fairway back in '76.
Right.
Is it me?
See you next, yeah. 214. Oh, you know what it's doing? I've just seen this.
What?
Because I've played a few rounds on it. It's got me with a ridiculous handicap. It's giving you blooming shots.
Is it?
One extra stroke on
you
this
go.
hole.
Well, why not?
It's an outrage.
Well, why not? Why not? No
Well, we've
complaints.
got back
from me.
right pin.
Back right pin.
Ooh.
Little bit of a Virginia.
What are we going in with here?
I've got a 4-iron. It's uphill, isn't it?
5 yards uphill, yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Might be all right, that.
I mean, that's you know,
Might be all right.
considering that you've had limited warm-up.
I've,
just
no,
stepped up
it's not
and-
limited. I've had no warm-up. It's not limited, none.
I've got 208 out of what lie in the rough have I got?
Driver.
208.
A little bleed.
Oh, they
bled
put the
5
slopes
iron,
on.
4 iron.
90% power, 80% spin. Okay, so we're going 208. So I'm gonna batter a 5 iron out of this.
Brandon Peterson said, I don't never know how to pronounce your surname, Brandon. He played St George's Hill for the first time this year, and he said it was incredible.
It's a great bit of land. It was blessed with a lovely bit of land and a Colt design, so couldn't be much better. I've hit it well, so you know what will be will be.
Bit right. Should have taken more club.
It might have then just
saying. Just saying.
What have we got now? Right,
chipping.
Cheeky little
chipping. Little chip shot.
Right, so
Little chip shot.
18 yards. There you go. So 18 yards. I probably want to land this about 10. So we'll go.
Mako says, thanks for answering all your questions. You're very welcome. We do that every week.
Ooh, I've battered
no
it.
question is too silly.
Absolutely battered it.
Yes, you did. You plonked that too hard.
When you're out of practice of these things, actually picturing the short shots is the hardest bit by a mile.
Because you always think that you've got to chip it into the screen, and it's not about
if you get to the screen, 6 yards away. Oh, delicate. Aye. Oh.
Almost.
Right.
Almost.
Is it going to be brutal on the putting or not? Might be really
and that is 7:01.
7 o'clock.
We're there.
What happened? Well, you won anyway because you get a shot.
Well, thank you very much for being with us. As usual, we appreciate all of your questions. We do this every week, Monday at 6 p.m. Not bank holidays and Christmas, but we do like to be here as often as we can. We will be here next week, 6 p.m.
Yes, might play a couple of holes at Oakmont, seeing as it's US Open week.
Absolutely, look forward to that. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. We certainly do. We love your participation. We'll see you next week. Have a great week, and may all your golfing dreams come true.